sports nuts are back.
You are now listening to The Sports Nuts.
And good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the Sports Corner Show. My name is Ralph Williams along with my co-host Smoki and Jim Frazier by phone. And if you look right here, we have our first guest on today with us, Keith Engel from the TGI Sports Network. And we're simulcasting on his platform as well. And the Sports Nuts Network along with YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, X, and the Kick Network also. And we are simulcasted on 95.5 KFCE in Terrell, Texas, and also on the Hawaiian Sports Network and seven other radio platforms as well. You can catch the Sports Nuts and also my shows as well on there also. And we are also across the country, South Africa, Australia, and several other countries as well. Don't forget to tune in on our platforms out there as well. All right, today we're going to talk about the New York Giants, the New York Jets, and the New England Patriots with Keith at 4:30. We have Ryan Neal from Amped Up Sports. He's coming on to talk with us about the New Orleans Saints. So as we continue our draft coverage, 2-hour specials all the way until the end of the draft. And once the draft is over, we'll go back to our normal schedule, the Wrestle Talk Show, and the Sports Corner Show, 4 and 5 o'clock as well. And I have some other announcements to make, but we'll do that later on today. And then from 5 to 6, Smoki and Jim and I are going to dissect defensive tackles, free agency, and defensive tackles in the NFL draft, talk Steeler news, and some other things going on as well. All right, let's see what we have here. Mello says hello. Hello, Mello. Appreciate you tuning in today. And also Honey as well says, okay, thank you. And there we are. All right. Smoki and Jim, welcome to the program. How are you today?
Hey, thanks, Ralph. I'm ready for this one.
All right. Real quick here, I'm going to do my rant like I always do, and Smoki and Jim will do his wisdom. My rant today is real simple. Pitt Panthers did it again. Now they hired a new coach, a new women's basketball coach, kept Jeff Capel, and I had to watch a very terrible game, a TCU getting blown out by Duke, which I was rooting for Jamie Dixon. I always have. Jamie Dixon's a good basketball coach. He just never is able to make it to the Final Four. I was saddened that my Miami of Ohio didn't move forward either. So my two teams are done, and I'm really not involved in it that much. Now I'm rooting with Claudia Rosano. I'm rooting for Arkansas now to see how far along they go. And, we'll see what happens with this NCAA basketball tournament. But Pitt basketball has fallen big time. And to keep Jeff Capel on for one more season is really a bad decision made by Alan Green, the athletic director. And he just hired a new a women's basketball coach from Charleston College or Charleston University. And I really hope that this coach does better than the ones that we've had in the past, including Susie McConnell-Ciro, who was an Olympic coach and coached in the WNBA. Just couldn't do it at Pitt. I don't know what happened. But I will tell you that I hope that this program can get back in order in the basketball program at the University of Pittsburgh. Smoking Jim Smoking Jim's wisdom. Go ahead.
Hey, good job, bro.
Thank you.
You know, a lot of people are bashing this quarterback class in the 2026 draft, but I tell you what, man, there's some interesting prospects if you're not afraid to coach. One kid down there in North Dakota State by the name of Cole Payton is intriguing. Now, he only started 1 year, so that throws up some red flags, but he's 6'3", 230 pounds. He's a left-hander, runs a 4.5 40, which is one of the fastest times ever recorded by a quarterback at the combine. And he's played quarterback his whole life, so he understands the game. I think the guy got real potential with some coaching to develop into a pretty good NFL quarterback.
All right. Thank you. As always, great Smoking Jim's wisdom as well. And we're going to go on our Facebook page here and see who's all tuning in here in a second here as soon as I get a pumpkin punch up here. There we go. All right, let's get started with our guest, Keith Engel. Keith, welcome to the program, TGI Sports Network. And he does several programs and is on several programs as well. I have seen Keith on a whole bunch of programs all across the country as well as myself. But Keith, welcome, and thank you for being on the program today.
Happy to be with you guys as always. Talk a little football real quick. I'm one of those guys bashing the quarterback class, Smoking Jim. You got the right idea. If you want to find a quarterback, don't waste a high pick on them. Find somebody later on with some potential, like the Cole Payton that you mentioned. There's a few of those sleepers that you can get later in the draft.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can always get some kind of sleeper. Look at San Francisco. You know when they Brock Purdy and some other guys that have gone in the upper rounds. You know.
Yeah, so, I'm just not a fan of risking years of development of my program by wasting it on a quarterback with a top pick. Later on, there's guys to be found, as Smoking Jim so well put it.
Yeah. Hey, look at Richardson in Indianapolis. I mean, there's an example right there. Here's a guy that was, drafted in the first round and just hasn't panned out. Now Indy scrambles every year to find a quarterback, and but they got Daniel Jones now, so they don't have to scramble anymore.
Yes.
And my theory always works. Change of atmosphere can do a man good. So, Daniel Jones there, it's done him pretty good. If, again, like you say, he stays healthy and stays out of the tub. Because you know what I always say, you can't help the club if you're in the tub.
No.
So, but I've said that many times, and, of course, I'll say it again. All right, Keith, let's get started here. You cover the New York Giants, the Jets, but mostly the Patriots as well. Give us a little summary here as to what we can expect from the New York Giants with John Harbaugh at the helm this year.
Listen, the Giants already hit a home run this offseason by hiring John Harbaugh, in my mind. It's a total reset for this organization. I know that Shine stays on, but I will tell you that in my mind, and I don't think there's much doubt about it, Harbaugh is a guy calling the shots. He's got the last say on draft picks and free agency and whatnot. And I like what they've done already in the off season by getting a tackle and some offensive line help to keep Jackson Dart from hitting the head like every 3 plays. That'd be a good idea. I think the Giants will probably go defense with their first pick. Probably Sonny Styles is a guy to look at. Caleb Downs, 2 guys from Ohio State. Love. What the hell's Love's name? I'm forgetting his name all of a sudden.
Jordan Love. Jordan Love.
No, I'm thinking of the Notre Dame running back, Jeremiah Love. Jeremiah Love. He's not going to fall to 5, I don't think, because I don't think he gets past the Titans. But if he does, I think the Giants have to jump all over that running back. I think they've had a good offseason so far. This is a team, unlike the Jets, we'll talk about in a second. The Giants think that they're ready to move forward, I think, now and move up in that NFC East pecking order if they can get some protection and some more weapons for Jackson Dart. And I think that's where they'll head. One big loss for them in the offseason, I think, is Wan'Dale Robinson, losing him to the Titans. I would have liked to see him end up in Foxborough, actually, but I think they could go Cardell Tate at wide receiver with their first pick as well. So there's a lot of directions the Giants could go, but the biggest thing they did was Harbaugh changing the entire culture. We saw this in New England. What happens when you bring in a coach that has a culture that he wants to instill and people buy in? Things can turn around in a hurry, and the Giants could be in that situation, in my opinion. Am I here alone?
I can hear you, Keith. You still there, Ralph?
I think we lost Ralph for a second. I'm not sure what happened to Ralph.
Well, let me ask a question.
Sure.
Okay, I'm sorry, Smoking Jim.
Okay.
Yeah, I was tending to something. I had an emergency I had to take care of here.
Oh, hope everything's all right.
So I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm back. Go ahead.
Okay, I was going to ask Keith a question. How happy would the fan base be in New York to have Jeremiah Love and Scatterboo token that rock for you?
I think that would be a great 1-2 punch. Harkening back to the days of Tiki Barber, and I'm trying to remember his running mate when they had Thunder and Lightning or whatever they called it in New York. I think the fans will be very happy. Again, not being a huge Giant or Jet fan myself, but having all these people, their fan bases are all over my shows and my sites and my life here living in upstate New York. So I think they'd be very happy. Fans always want skill position players anyway, right? Smoking Jim, they don't fall in love with the guys in the trenches that really are important on the offensive and defensive lines. They want to see skill position players. And if Love should slip to 5, I don't think he will. They'd be nuts to pass him up, I think. He's the only running back really, I think, worthy of maybe the first 2 rounds in this draft.
Okay, I'm back, guys. I'm sorry. I was trying to, again, attend to something here that I was trying to deal with here. Sorry. All right. Thank you for that, Keith. Also, I wanted to ask you a question in regards to what are we looking at this year with John Harbaugh? I know he has a new coaching staff. He brought in some people. What can we expect from that?
Again, similar to what happened in New England last year with the staff changes there. I think you'll see a total culture change, more accountability being held, and you've got a guy with a track record. I mean, again, maybe he ran out of gas in Baltimore, and after a while, guys start to listen. But you can't find a lot better track records for 18 years than John Harbaugh's. Maybe they would like more Super Bowl championships, but I can tell you, it reminds me a lot of the Tom Coughlin hire. They're not different. They're little different personalities, obviously, but I think that culture change that you're going to see in New York now is going to be huge, and I think you're going to see the Giants make a major step forward, maybe as soon as this year, assuming Jackson Dart stays out of the hospital.
Yeah, there you go. And Scatterboo comes back. That'll be great.
Comes back, and he can stay healthy as well, right? Yeah. That's whether they get Love or not. Scatterboo's still a great weapon, but he's got his style of play, man, is and it's hard to unteach that, right? And that's what's made him successful. And I'm just not sure how long he's going to play in this league, playing the way that he plays.
All right. Okay. Keith, New York Jets. What can we expect from them? I know, Aaron Glenn's the head coach up there. You can't really expect much from them, but, let's go into what can we expect from the Jets this year? You think you see any improvement there? No, or anything else?
Unlike the Giants, I think the Jets, and I think they've accomplished what they wanted to accomplish in this offseason. They did bring in a new quarterback, but not one that's going to win too many games, right? They bring Geno Smith back. Geno's probably better than the 2 quarterbacks that they had. Justin Fields, who you saw plenty of in Pittsburgh, has been moved out. Tyrod Taylor may stay as a backup, but their quarterback now is Geno Smith. They don't want to win a lot of games this year, and I think that's pretty obvious by some of the things they've done in the offseason. They want to be in position to get a quarterback next year when I think and looking a year ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
Like next year's draft, but looking ahead, this year's draft looks pretty good as well. So that can change. But I think the Jets are in a position where, they're not going to outright say they don't want to win games. But I think they don't want to win. They don't want to go out and win more than 4 games, maybe.
4 games, right? Yeah, it
Because it'll hurt them.
seems like they want to stay in that top 5 position every year in the draft, and then they don't. They end up drafting somebody that don't work
Look,
out.
they've got very good draft positions this year, and I think personally I think they'll go with Averill Reese at that 2 position, another Ohio State linebacker, and at 16, if I hear a lot of talk about Ty Simpson because he had a great combine, but I'm not a big, as we've talked about a couple of times already in this segment, I'm not a big fan of the guys at the top of this quarterback class.
Yes. I know. Yeah.
Ty Simpson is a guy I might take a chance on in the 3rd round, but not at 16. And a lot of talk about the Jets doing that. If I'm the Jets, if Jordan Tyson is still there from Arizona State, wide receiver, and he's a guy I would take a look at. Omar Cooper from Indiana might still be there. He's a guy I'd take a look at if they're there. And that's where the Jets have to go. I think they're building for the future. They don't think they're ready to win now, obviously.
Right.
And I think they want to put together a team that is just bad enough to keep them in those top.
And keep them in the hunt for next year for a quarterback. I got
and
it.
Maybe Arch Manning falls in their lap next year. Right.
I see.
That's what they're thinking.
All right, Smoke and Jim, any questions for Keith about the Jets?
Yeah, just real quick, Keith. I believe I heard a stat about the Jets that I don't think that ever happened before in the National Football League. I think their secondary went the whole season without getting an interception, and then they brought in a couple free agents in the offseason that can intercept passes as well. Do you think that Aaron Glenn is in over his head coaching the Jets?
You're right about the stat, number one. They are the first team ever to go 17 games anyway without an interception, and that's pretty bad, especially with the number of time guys throw the football today, right? I was shocked when I heard that stat late in the season. And your question about Aaron Glenn, I'm not sure yet. I think we need to give him a little bit of time, but in the NFL, you don't get a lot of time anymore. There's no 5-year plans, right? You turn things around to show improvement in a couple of years, or you're going to be out of here. I like their hire of their offensive coordinator in Frank Reich, but that's a guy that Aaron Glenn may have to look over his shoulder. If he gets in trouble, right?
Yeah.
He's been head coach in this league. He's a really good offensive mind.
Yes.
But I got to give.
Did what he could at Stanford. I'm actually quite surprised he stayed in football because he told everybody, he told Andrew Luck he was done. He was just going to do this little Stanford thing and then
1 year.
Be done. Exactly. Yeah. And it turns out he's back in the league. So, we'll see what he does.
As far as patience with Aaron Glenn, I don't know how the Jets can really, kind of pump the season and then fire the head coach because you don't win many games. I think you're going to have to give him a 3rd year if you're approaching this season the way that it looks like they are, right? And getting ready for Arch is, I see John Gonzalez was talking about.
Yeah, John Gonzalez made a comment, but here's one here from Malton. He says, did you know the Texans are the best team in the NFL? Yeah, Texans have a good football team. They do.
I think the problem with that comment is the best team in the NFL. I don't think there's anything that points towards that. It's okay. If you're a Texans fan, I get it. You should think your team is the best. But
yeah, we have a lot of fans from Texas here from KFC Radio. Yeah. So
you got the best defense in football. I can tell you that. And if you put some offense together, I don't like the way they approach their running back situation. They keep bringing in running backs who are about used up, right? They did it with Mixon. They did it with Chubb. Now they're doing it with Montgomery.
They
just need to get more help.
They keep on bringing those guys in. I wanted Chubbs with the Steelers. I thought they should have brought him in, but you know what? If he's hurt, if you're in the tub, you can't help the club. So I mean, But Jets to show the answer to 2-15. Pray for Arch. John's right there. The Jets might trade down with the right offer. They got a lot of draft picks.
That's possible too. Again, knowing what they're trying not to accomplish this year, it is possible they trade down and gather more draft picks. It's entirely possible.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's go into the New England Patriots, who went to the Super Bowl this year with Mike Vrabel Your thoughts, Keith, on the New England Patriots? That's your team. What's exactly are the Patriots looking at? I know that they're going to be drafted deep because of the going to the Super Bowl and all. But what do you see the Patriots looking at this year?
Patriots have a couple, have some positions to fill. You saw that the offensive line is still not up to snuff, and they made a signing of the guy's name is escaping me from the Jets right now. I got the wrong page up here. Let me pull this up real quick. They picked up, what is this guy's name? God. Don't get old, because this is what happens to you. You're
yeah, you got that right.
Vera Tucker, he's kind of a high ceiling, maybe a deep floor signing for 3 years for $14 million to try to bolster that offensive line. They brought in Draymond Jones for an edge rusher because they did lose Chasson to, I think, the Redskins, team formerly known as the Redskins anyway.
Right.
So I think they'll be looking offensive line, but they need tight ends. Hooper's gone to Atlanta. I like Hunter Henry, but they like to run that 2 tight end set. There's a kid out of Oregon named I think Sedecue, something like this, who's really, really good. He might be there at 31 when they draft. If somehow Mesidor, the edge rusher from Miami, the other edge rusher on the other side of Ruben Bain, should slide to 31. He's projected in the 20s right now. They'd have a hard time passing up on him. There's been some recent chatter about Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech, the kind of freaky linebacker. He's a little bit older for a draft pick, but he's a guy that they'll probably take a look at. And wide receivers is a place they need to upgrade as well. They did sign Dobbs from Green Bay, but Denzel Boston from Washington is a guy to keep an eye on with that first pick for the Patriots too. So I would look for them to focus on offensive line, wide receiver, and probably edge, maybe another edge rusher.
All right, Smoki Jim, any questions for Keith about New England Patriots?
Yeah, Keith, do you see New England taking a step back this year, or do you think they'll push again for the Super Bowl?
They'll be a contender, Smoking Jim. This team could very easily improve this year, be a better football team, and win less games because they're going to have a harder schedule. Obviously, we've heard endless talk about the easy schedule that the Patriots had last year. You can only play the teams they put in front of you. But it'll be tougher this year, but this team should improve. There's no reason Drake May should not improve. Again, want to keep him out of the emergency room as well. So they got to improve that offensive line and get him some weapons. He played really well last year. Had a bad game in the Super Bowl. That doesn't wipe away everything that he did. Playing against, I get it. It wasn't a great schedule, but a lot of those teams that they were playing that they would have lost to 2 years ago, no matter how weak the schedule was, they were beating up on them pretty good. So I think this team, to just get a little more succinct, Smoking Jim, will be better. Will be better this year, but win less games but still be in contention for a playoff spot and hopefully another run at the Super Bowl.
All right. Don't forget this Saturday, the Saturday Sports Show with me, Ralph Williams, Pensman Sports, and also Brian Pettit and Leo Haggerty. Our guest is going to be Ray Cruz. Ray covers the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Whoa.
So he'll be on with us this Saturday because what I'm doing now is I'm getting guys on Saturday that I can't get on Tuesday to cover my 32 teams that I promised we were going to try to cover this year for the NFL draft. And I'm working on getting Jerry White, who is a friend of the Sports Nuts Show, getting him on to talk about the Buffalo Bills. So we got some top-notch people coming on here from across the country and all the different teams. We've already covered Seattle, Baltimore, Washington Commanders, Cleveland Browns, the Steelers. We've already covered, and now New York, the 2 New York teams, New England. We've also covered some other teams as well, and on our way to the 32. So, Seattle Seahawks, we've already covered. We've had Bo Crouch on. We had David Alexander on from Amped Up Sports to cover the Chargers and the Raiders. So we've had some guys on here, and Ryan Neal's coming on today at 4:30 from Amped Up Sports to talk about the New Orleans Saints and what they're going to do this year. I don't think the Saints did pretty good, Keith. Don't you think for with Kellen Moore this year? They were in games.
They were in games, and they may have found a quarterback. Again, he's not going to be at the top. Likely not going to be at the top echelon of NFL quarterbacks. But I think he showed in the 6 or 7 games that he started that he can be a functional NFL quarterback. I like Shuck a lot.
All right. Thank you, Jerry White. Yes, I will be in touch with you, Jerry. I have your information. I will be in touch. We're going to have Jerry come on. He covers the Buffalo Bills. So Jerry White tuning in today. So I want to thank him for being on by way of Facebook. And we're also on the Sports Nuts Network. We're on simulcasted today on TGI Sports Network, which is Keith Engel's network. Keith's also on another network he can tell us about a little bit as well. He does some shows with. The
McGrath podcast, McGrath Podcast Network. It's what evolved from Northeast Streaming Sports. Mac McGrath founded Northeast Streaming Sports 6 or 7 years ago. I've been a part of working with Mac and the people on that network for the last 7 years, and some new people came along, and unfortunately we lost Mac last fall. Passed away, and Brian and some other guys have done Brian's done a great job. Brian Art has done a great job of rebranding the network in Mac's name and looking for new shows, and we'll get him in touch with you as well. So
I appreciate that. Thank you. Always looking to expand. So
and we have a lot of great shows there now. We can always use some more for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay. One special announcement here I have today, and I want to talk with everybody about that announcement. Here it is. Starting Saturday, April 4th, Delmarva region, 93.5 The Beach. The Ralph Williams Show, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. A 50,000-watt station. The 50,000-watt station up in Pittsburgh didn't want me. Well, guess what? The Beach took me. There you go. Every Saturday morning, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. You can also tune in on 93.5thebeach.com and their website. Also go to Google, punch up 93.5 The Beach, scroll down to Radio Stations USA, and you'll see it there. And you punch the arrow. Every Saturday morning starting April 4th, the Ralph Williams Show. We got a lot to talk about in the Delmarva region down here. We're in Studio 10 here in Berlin, Maryland. And our guest, who we're getting ready to for him to go. And then we got Ryan Neal coming up shortly here to talk about the New Orleans Saints. Real quick, Keith, any closing thoughts here? But I want to ask you, what's your thoughts on the baseball season this year? What are we looking at?
Well, the Yankees are running it back, so I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. We'll find out.
That's in the National League, too, so the New York teams look pretty good, I guess. Huh?
Look at it. If they stay healthy, the Yankees will be okay. The Mets might need a little bit of help. Fielder, they need to step up. So the New York teams, they can go either way. I mean, they could win divisions or they could miss the playoffs. Health is going to be a huge factor for the Yankees. I'm a big Yankee fan.
What's always burned the Dodgers over the years? They signed all these big, expensive players, and then they all got hurt when it came time to playoffs, and then couldn't get to the World Series. But they made it the last couple of times. So
they've done all right the last 2 years, and I think they're going to be in the perfect position to three-peat because the team they've gotten better. The outfield was kind of weak. Kyle Tucker obviously makes that outfield a lot better. I think a lot of the Dodgers situation will depend on how quickly the aging process is catching up with Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman. If they stay on top of their game, I think they'll be fine.
Any final questions, Smoke and Jim, before I let Keith go?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you, Keith, for being part of the show today. Keith Engel, TGI Sports Network. Tune into all his programming. Like and subscribe to his networks as well. Help us all get where we need to be in our goals, and subscribing on our YouTube pages, and follow us all here as well. All right, Keith, thank you again. And thank you for being part of the show. We'll have you come back on at another date and have you come on, talk sports with us. We're getting into baseball season. I'll have you come back on. We'll do a baseball show as soon as we get done with the draft here a little bit.
Happy to do that. Happy to do that. Always good to be with you guys. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thanks, Keith. Have a great one. Keith Engel, TGI Sports Network. Thank you for being part of the show as always. And next we have Ryan Neal coming up here. Ryan, welcome to the program. Amped Up Sports. covers New Orleans Saints and the LSU.
Can you hear
Tigers.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Ryan. Go ahead. I can
Hey,
hear you.
Ralph, if you hear me, I can't hear you, man.
Well, I don't know. I can hear you. I don't know. Smoking Jim, can you hear Ryan?
It's like right when that guy left, like all the audio went
loud and
muted.
clear.
Yeah,
Loud and
we
clear.
both can hear you. We both can hear you.
Here, I'm gonna join real quick right back.
Okay.
See if it's on.
Yeah, that's fine. No problem. All right. So Ryan's going to reboot. Smoking Jim, your thoughts on what Keith had to say, and what do you think about the three teams he was covering today?
I'll tell you what, man, he covers the big markets, man. Boston, New York, some heavy hitters there. He's very influential with the media there in New England. It's a great time to be. I wouldn't doubt if the New England Patriots take a step back this year. They had a cupcake schedule last year. Vrabel did a great job, but they proved in the Super Bowl that they have some holes that they need to fill, and I don't think you can fill them all. And playing the first place schedule, man, that's going to be very tough. It's going to be tough on the Pittsburgh Steelers too. They have to play a first place schedule as well.
Well, yeah, you know what you always say, Smoking Jim, they got exposed in the Super Bowl. All right, Ryan Neal's here. Ryan, let's see if you can hear us now. Can you hear us?
I hear you. Yes, sir.
All right, great. Ryan Neal, who represents Amped Up Sports. He covers the New Orleans Saints and the LSU Tigers. We're going to talk a little bit about both here in a few moments. Smoking Jim, say hello to Ryan.
Hey, Ryan, you're the kin to Lorenzo Neal, one of the great fullbacks down there in New Orleans.
Not the first time I got that.
Yeah, I got you. All right, Ryan, let's get started here. The inevitable. What's going on with the Saints this year? What are they looking at in the draft? Where are they going in free agency this year? I know are they still in cap hell? That's what I want to know.
So yes, they're still. So this is the last year of cap hell. Next year will be the first time that they have actually a salary cap to work with. A lot of that. Well, I don't understand how you can be negative $80 million like last year and still be a team. Like at that point, I don't understand that at all. And every offseason they get to neutral. They get to neutral or a little bit ahead. And I don't know, just restructuring and everything. And one reason for that was Michael Thomas's contract was still screwing us. Alvin Kamara. And then Cameron Jordan is another one on there, but we're holding on to Cameron Jordan for a little longer, it seems. With the draft, 8th pick in the draft, and kind of the feeling that I have based on where Mickey Loomis was at. Mickey Loomis was at LSU's pro day a couple days ago, and it makes sense, just proximity, to be god honest. And then there's a guy there called Mansour Delane, who in my opinion was the best defensive back last year in college football, and that is bias because I am an LSU fan. But he was locked down. You threw his way, you were not catching the ball. It was complete lockdown, a bright side on the defense. And then there's another guy there, which is something that the Saints need with losing Demario Davis to the Jets, and that's Harold Perkins, another guy, another see ball, get ball linebacker that could be helpful in a really good position or a really good get in the second or third round for the Saints if they choose to. But there's a lot of holes to fill. At the end of this past year, optimism was up because Tyler Shuck was looking good. Olave was being consistent. The defense was making plays with on a team that everyone thought the defense was going to be bad. It was the bright spot. So I think the season is looking up based on what they pick. Another guy, if they don't go after Mansour Delane, is Caleb Downs, which I think would be awesome for the Saints.
All right, Smoking Jim, any questions for Ryan about the Saints?
Yeah, I was just going to ask Ryan. He kind of answered some of it, but your rookie quarterback last year opened some eyes.
Yeah.
Is that your quarterback of the future now? Is that the feeling?
I say he is, but the thing is like there's a good and bad thing with drafting a 26-year-old quarterback. One, he's experienced. Duh. Like, there's like a joke that if you were in college for 5+ years, you should have been hopping on Indeed to get a job resume going. And it's like he was in there for a while, but he comes to the league. A lot of people doubted him. And I was one guy too. I doubted him at the end of when we drafted him. I'm like, what the hell are we doing? Shadur Sanders was right there, and it seems like Mickey Loomis and them kind of made us put our foot in our mouths, because this guy at the end of the season, he figured it out, and he was being consistent. He wasn't making mistakes, and it really looked like he was a 26-year-old quarterback. And so if he did that his first year, you get some pieces around him. He made some, some chemistry with the wide receivers. You're bringing in some new guys. I think they're on the up. I think they're on the up, and I think the rest of the NFC East, yeah, the NFC East is going down a little bit with the Falcons, the Bucks, and everybody else, somewhat.
All right, I see you have defensive coordinator Brandon Staley. That's not a bad hire. I
Not
mean,
at all.
Brandon Staley, he was the head coach. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he was the head coach at with the LA Chargers, I believe.
Yep,
at one
you're
point.
right.
Yeah, and it didn't really work out for him, but he's a great defensive coach. And I see here that he's the defensive coordinator. I was going to ask you about the coaching staff. And Scott Tolzien is quarterbacks coach. I mean, I think New Orleans might just, like I said, compete this year like they did last year. They were very competitive, despite the fact that they didn't have the talent that they probably could have if they weren't in this cap hell. And do some kind of good scouting and better drafting and free agent signings and all that stuff, and watch your salary cap and all that stuff. One good thing with the Steelers is we have Omar Khan, the numbers cruncher. He's one of the best in the business at handling the cap. So that's, well, supposedly he is. I mean, as they say in police business, allegedly. So I mean, so anyway. But, he's one of the best in the business at handling the salary cap. And I think New Orleans dropped the ball, as they say in football, by not being able to do that as well. But
it's just been like with the Saints and drafting 2017. That was when in one draft, the Saints got Kamara, Lattimore, Ryan Ramchick. And then I think there was another guy in there. It was just four, like you hit on four superstars in the draft. And ever since, it's just been like, oh, first round, we're going to go get Marcus Davenport. It's like, what? And then so it's just kind of been, since then, it's kind of like every draft we get one guy who's decent. Or we get a guy in the third round called Zach Bond, and then we trade him away to the Eagles, and then he becomes one of the best linebackers in the league. So that's kind of where that's kind of the overarching theme with the Saints and drafting recently. However, I will note that this past draft cycle, they did really good. Sanker at safety, awesome get. You got Quincy Riley from Louisville, who's been great, he's consistent starter for us. Then you got Shuck, who's been doing awesome. And you have Stutzman at linebacker, who had some up and downs this season. I think they're improving on scouting and picking players, and I think this draft, just with how much capital they have and where, I think they're really going to go off.
All right, Ryan, or I'm sorry, Smoki Jim, you have any more questions for Ryan about the Saints?
No, I don't.
Okay, Ryan, you cover the LSU Tigers.
Yep, that's my team.
Spring practices are going on. I don't know when your spring game is. What is LSU looking like this year? Are they going to be, did they lose a lot of guys because NIL, or were they able to gain, or
to paint a picture, I can't tell you what it's going to be this year, because the entire offense, I think there's only two or three players in the entire offense returning. And everyone else left. It's a completely new team. Yeah. Going up and down the full roster. Like, the good news is LSU kept the guys they needed to. Trey Green, the 6'7" tight end who's been awesome in the red zone, they kept. They went and kept the guys on defense that they needed to. And the biggest thing in the entire offseason to me is they kept defensive coordinator Blake Baker. And that was the biggest thing. They kept him from going to Tulane, and people, LSU fans at least, and the staff don't cherish that as much as it was, because he was, I think, one of their LSU's defense kept us in every game last year. Every single game. Our offense is the one that lost us every game. And so with Lane Kiffin coming in, here's an improvement on the offense. Here's a bunch of guys who, in all due honesty, a lot of them I never heard their names before, and then who are coming in from the transfer portal. But then there's some really big names like Trey Brown and some guy. I can't remember. There's so many of them. I'm not lying.
Offensive coordinator is Charlie Weiss's kid, Charlie Weiss Jr. is his offensive coordinator.
That's a great one too.
Smoking Jim, Charlie Weiss Jr., the offensive coordinator in LSU.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Man.
The son of I tell you what, Charlie Weiss was a good offensive coordinator, horrible head coach at Notre Dame, though.
And then another notable hire is the running backs coach Kevin Smith, who's been awesome, man. At Ole Miss, he came over from over there, and he's a notorious running backs coach for them.
Yeah, I see that there, Kevin Smith. Yeah, okay, yeah, and then
Yeah.
Joe Cox is not a bad hire either. Tight ends offensive coordinator. I've heard his name in several
I'm not
circles.
complaining. I'm not
Yeah.
complaining at the hires. The thing
No.
is with LSU,
Dane
dishing out.
Stevens. Dane
Yeah.
Stevens. I've heard his name around in circles. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh! Wow.
Yeah, like that's the thing is, we brought in Lane Kiffin, and then we basically said, whatever you want, have it. And he said, all right, this, hey, I want this. Here's the money for it. We were just, I'll be honest, LSU NIL has really improved over the past 2 to 3 years, and they are going off in the transfer portal and being extremely competitive. And it really helps. Like, there's programs like Oregon who, they have a ton of money, but then it's like, okay, what do you have to show for? Oh, we have a Heisman from 2013. What else do you have? Like, oh, we don't even have a national championship. So, and then we look at LSU, LSU can say, we've won 3 national championships since 2000. We've had 2 Heisman. We've had multiple first-round draft picks, multiple Jim Thorpe Awards winner. You name a position, they've won the award at some point since 2000. So we have all this stuff and say, we have the staff, we have the facilities. All we need is you. And that's a great selling point.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Last week, I want to apologize to everyone. At the last minute, I had to shut the show. I couldn't have the show on. I had a family emergency that I had to take care of, and I apologize for last week for us not being on the air here. But we got the family emergency taken care of, and I just had something that came up here on the phone that almost turned into another one, and but we got it handled. So I just want to let everyone know I apologize for last week not being able to be on here to bring you the Sports Corner show, but we're back this week, and it was great to have Ryan on again this week because he was supposed to be on with us last week, and the guest that we had last week couldn't come on this week as well. All right, answer to Cole. There's my man Tim. How are you, Tim? Tim Collins. Good evening, gents. How are you? Answer to Cole had me on a few weeks back on his show. He does a really good talk show as well. Tune into him. Like and subscribe to all of our channels here, our YouTube and Facebook channels. Smoki, Jim, you have any questions about LSU for Ryan?
Yeah, your quarterback from last year was projected to go in the first round, and then his stock dropped. Do you think he can play in the National Football League? And if so, what round do you think he'll be taken?
I do think he gets drafted. That's the first thing, is because I'll be real, this quarterback draft you can compare it to 2022. I think Fernando Mendoza is a reach. Personally, for me, I think Ty Simpson is the best pro style ready quarterback, but even him, I think that's a stretch. Yeah, I know that's a hot take, but it's at the same time, like, let's see what Fernando Mendoza does in the NFL, because I just don't see it. I don't know. It's just me personally. I can't see it. So there's not the quarterback talent isn't really there in this draft. So I think some teams are going to kind of take a chance. And Nussmeier, there's some nepotism there, because who's the offensive coordinator for the Saints? I believe it's his dad, Nussmeier, because that's who he was at last year.
Nussmeier is, yeah.
So maybe he's poking the bear there, saying, "Hey, let's draft my son in the 6th or 7th if he's there, and you have a backup." And I don't know, but the entire Nussmeier story, it kind of is a mismanaged, and to give him a slight excuse, a mismanaged injury, that he had an ab strain at the end of spring training, and it was too close to the Clemson game. He really wasn't ready. They kept on playing him. They never sat him, and it just kept on re-aggravating the injury. And I mean, he got sacked the most times in the SEC. We had the worst offensive line in the SEC, or LSU did. And I think he got out there and he knows he's about to get hit, so he's jittery, and he's a pocket passer. So he knows these guys are coming at him. He's scared, crapless. And then, he makes a bad decision or gets sacked. It's just, I think it was not a year made for him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I know what you're saying there, Ryan. And sometimes that happens. And LSU went to play Clemson, and we saw a pretty interesting season with them this year. So we'll see what happens. Lane Kiffin coming in, it's going to improve, but things take time.
I'm excited, to say the least.
As my friend Brandon Keeler always says, Rome wasn't built in a day. So, I mean, and the sports nuts, he always says Rome wasn't built in a day. And that's the truth. I mean, it takes time to build something. And he's with a new program, but he's bringing some of his guys with him. And I'm still using my Tomlinism, guys, so exactly. I miss Mike Tomlin. I miss picking on him. You know what I mean?
So he's a character, though. Like, no matter what, like, he had a good. I personally, from an outsider to the Pittsburgh Steelers fan base, he had a culture in that locker room, and I mean, the Pittsburgh defense was always something to be fearful of. It always was under him, and he always kept that like as a pinnacle to me.
Yeah, I know. I picked on him a little bit, but I had some fun with it.
I'm sure
it was good. We all did. We all had some fun with it. So and we're still having fun with it. But we're gonna see what Mike McCarthy does this year. We'll look at that. Smoke and Jim and I are going to go over defensive linemen in the draft. I'm doing different positions both on the Sports Corner radio show on Saturdays in Pittsburgh and also on the on here. We're going to be talking about different positions in the draft. And last week we weren't here last week, but on the radio show we talked about offensive linemen. And this week we're going to start diving into the defense here a little bit. Defensive linemen in the draft and stuff. Ryan, what do you see in this draft this year? You see any surprises? You see somebody that might pull something off, some trade or something, some other teams before we let you go?
I'll be real with trades. I have no idea. It's kind of seems they made out of thin air, and it's just kind of a random moment. You don't hear about until it happens. With trades, I have no idea. If I'm See, I couldn't even tell you who's the first 4 teams in the draft. To be God honest, I know the Saints very well, but I know it's the Raiders first, and probably I can probably assume the Jets and the Cleveland Browns are in the top 5. But
right, I got you.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. All right, Ryan. Thank you for being part of the program today. Appreciate it. Any last minute questions for Ryan here, Smoking Jim?
No, sir.
All right. Ryan, thank you again, and say hello to all my friends at Amped Up Sports there. And you can also catch this segment or this show here. We always upload onto Amped Up Sports. All sports programming involved in RW Media Productions will be uploaded onto the Amped Up Sports Facebook page, and soon to be on their website and whatnot. I hear there's some things coming from Amped Up Sports there, Ryan, and RW Media Productions also be a part of that as well. So just to let everyone know, we're expanding. We're with the Sports Nuts. We're getting into some other entities and some expansion here. So, things are moving for RW Media Productions. Smoking Jim always says, what is it, Smoking Jim, about this year?
It's your year, brother.
That's right. There it is. The year of the Ralph Williams and the RW Media. There we go, Productions. And the year that we all start succeeding in social media and stuff like that. Have yourself a great one, Ryan. Thank you again. And
thank you for having me.
All right. Ryan Neal from the Amped Up Sports guys. Smoking Jim, your thoughts on what Ryan had to say?
I tell you what, man, he's enthusiastic about the New Orleans Saints and the LSU Tigers. And I think that, Lane Kiffin will turn them around till he quits, right?
Yeah, exactly. You know what? That's something to be excited about. I mean, if Pitt had a coach like Lane Kiffin, which they can't afford, if they had a coach like Lane Kiffin, we would be excited about that. I was excited when they brought in Dave Wannstedt. I was real excited. You know what I mean? So finally somebody who knows their way around the game and recruiting and all that stuff. And it was sad what happened there, but I'm not going to go into that today. I don't have time. So, all right, Smoking Jim, let's get into some Steeler news. They just signed this running back Homer. I just want to know if he's a homer, and I've been making jokes about that all week. Since he was signed, is he a homer or not? That kind of thing. But anyway, Smoking Jim, they feel the need. They need a kick returner and a punt returner. I've been harping on that for a long time. What do you think about this homer guy?
Practice squad guy at best.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, my hopes have been dwindled for kickoff return. So there you go. But anyway, all right. But anyhow, NFL. This is a report here from Steelers Now. saying that the NFL is considering a rule change after the DK Metcalf incident, Smoke and Jim. The competition committee, and then we're going to get into defensive linemen at the top of the hour here, free agents, and also the draft as well. But the NFL competition committee has proposed a rule change that might have seen Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver DK Metcalf get ejected from his team's game against the Detroit Lions last year. The competition committee put forward 5 potential rule changes, Smoke and Jim, and 3 bylaw changes last week. These changes will be voted on. I believe this was last week this was voted. No, actually it was voted on today, earlier today, this morning. NFL owners in their annual meeting in Phoenix next week have to mull over one of 5 rule changes from the competition committee to allow the NFL league office to consult with on-field officials about potential ejections for flagrant football or non-football actions, whether or not the play was flagged by the officials currently, or the league office can only consult on plays where a flag is thrown on the on-field officiating staff. What do you think of this, Smoke and Jim? Go ahead.
Read that again. I don't believe I understood most of it.
All right. The NFL competition committee is proposing a rule change. They're having the NFL, they're having some owners meetings or some meetings with the owners. And the NFL competition committee got together and decided to make some rule changes after the DK Metcalf incident in Detroit. Okay. So the competition committee put forward 5 potential rule changes and 3 bylaw changes today. These changes will be voted on by the NFL owners at their annual meeting in Phoenix next week. This is reported by Steelers Now. And one of the 5 rule changes would allow the NFL league office to consult with on-field officials about potential ejections for flagrant football or non-football actions, whether or not the play was flagged by the officials. Currently, the league office can only consult on plays where the flag is thrown by an on-field officiating staff. It says, as you well know, DK Metcalf shoved a Lions fan, Ryan Kennedy, who's actually suing the Steelers and the league for his, he's actually filed a lawsuit in the first half of the game between the Steelers and the Lions on December 21st after Kennedy was heckling Metcalf. What are your thoughts on these possible rule changes, Smoke and Jim?
Well, it's cosmetic. Anytime there's litigation involved, the NFL has to come up with something to make it look like the safety of the fans and the safety of the players are being taken in consideration. So I think it's more cosmetic than anything. It's not going to do much. I don't believe in the long run. What do you think?
Well, you're right. I mean, I don't think it's going to do much, but we're going to see what the officials do, and whether they're going to enforce the rules or not. We all know the officials aren't perfect, like anyone else, and so I just think that the officiating has been bad in the NFL for many years, and probably will continue to be bad. Some penalties thrown in different directions and whatnot, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what the officials do. We'll see what the league does. See, that's the key ingredient here, Smoke. We got to look at what the league's going to do. What is the league officials going to do? Are they going to overrule on-field officiating, or are they going to let them do their job, or whatever? We're going to find that out as well. All right. Okay, Smoke and Jim, let's get into this here. We're at the top of the hour here. We're in the second hour of our new 2-hour special, or our 2-hour special. It's not new, but our 2-hour special. All the way to the NFL draft. Wrestle Talk will rejoin at the end of the draft. We'll indulge into it. Also, Smoke and Jim and I, after the NFL draft, it'll probably be Monday, April 20th. Smoke and Jim and I will do a special WrestleMania post show. We're going to talk about what happened at WrestleMania, what's going on. We're going to do a special Wrestle Talk post show. That'll be on April 20th, so please mark it on your calendar. It'll be in the evening. I will give you the time for that as well. And that'll be the first Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, and it'll probably be on around 7 o'clock because then we can jump into Raw as well for that. But that'll be the first Raw after WrestleMania. And that's always one of the most interesting ones, Smoking Jim, is that Raw right after WrestleMania. So we'll be indulging in that and getting into all that stuff as well. All right, Smoking Jim, let's get into it here. NFL defensive tackle free agents. All right, so we're going to indulge into that right now. Let me see here. Defensive linemen free agents in the that are available as of right now. All right, let's see what we have. That maybe somebody can sign. The Steelers maybe could sign a few guys. They already signed one. All right, we have, well, edge rushers with Trey Hendrickson, Jalen Phillips is already, these guys have pretty much been signed. Malcolm Concy, Las Vegas, Michael Dana, Kansas City, Koita Pay, Indianapolis, Seattle, Boyle Maffey, interior defensive lineman, John Franklin Myers of Denver, Sheldon Rankins of Houston, the United Football, or I'm sorry, Calais Campbell is out there, unrestricted free agent. David Onamato from Atlanta, Daquan Jones, Buffalo, and Tremont Jones, Baltimore. Some other guys in here, Tampa Bay, Logan Hall, Mike Pennell, Chris Tonga, New England. What do you think, Smoking Jim? What do you think if there's anything out there that maybe the Steelers can still improve their defensive line even more than what they have? What do you think?
Yeah, I think most of the guys that the Steelers would be interested in have already been taken.
Yeah, we know like Trey Hendrickson's already been taken. That list has pretty much been gone. So let me see what else we got here. Might be a few names I missed here. We're going to find that out right now. All right, let's see here. Okay, Franklin Myers has a 3-year contract. He just signed a 3-year, $63 million contract with, I'm trying to see who he signed with here. I'm having some issues here. My eyes sometimes give me problems. Jonathan Allen just signed a 2-year deal with the Bengals. Tim Settle, 3-year deal here. He just signed. And then let's see here. Who else? 2-year deal, Javon Hargrove with the Green Bay Packers. What's your thoughts on that signing there, Smoking Jim?
We should still be a Pittsburgh Steelers Steeler. That was a shame. He's a guy that I watched at South Carolina State. Tremendous athlete. I knew he would be good. Steelers was in a bind because they fell in love with Stephon Tuitt at the time, who didn't love football, who didn't want it, who was built like Tarzan and played like Jane.
Yeah.
So the Pittsburgh Steelers gave up on this guy too early, and he's been incredible everywhere he's gone.
Yeah, John Franklin Myers is with the Tennessee Titans, and then we got Logan Hall with the Texans, 2 years. He signed $13 million, and then Sebastian Joseph signed with the Steelers, 2 years, $11 million. Roy Lopez signed with Arizona, 2 years, $10 million. Neville Gallimore with the Bears, 2 years. Jordan Elliott, 2 years with the $8 million with the Titans. Looks like the Titans with Robert Saleh, they're Smoking Jim, are starting to shore up some defense there. And then they also got Brian DeBoe as their offensive coordinator. I'm going to try to get somebody on from Tennessee to talk with us about that coming on the Sports Corner show here. Deshaun Hand with 1 year, Deshaun Hand, 1 year with the Falcons, 1 year, $3 million. Ortito Onganía, 1 year. Just a bunch of guys here that have signed some deals. There's 2 guys that are still out there Smoking Jim, Sam Kamara and Sam Roberts. What do you think these guys? You think these guys will go anywhere? The one's with the Giants and the other one's with the Browns.
Yeah, they'll go somewhere. Their career is not over, but it won't be in Pittsburgh.
It won't be in Pittsburgh. Yeah. I don't see the Steelers signing any of these guys. But we're going to look into the draft here a little bit and see what they have. I read a mock draft today from Reddit, which is a social media platform site, that said that the Steelers were taking a defensive tackle out of Penn State. Very difficult name to pronounce. They were going to take him out of Penn State. So that's where they have the Steelers going with that guy. So, but we're going to indulge into the defensive linemen here in the NFL draft this year. So let's get into that. All right, in the 2026 draft. Now this is CBS Sports. They have ranked number 13, Peter Woods, defensive lineman, Clemson Jr. Your thoughts on Peter Woods? Go ahead. You there, Smoking Jim?
Yeah, he's the real deal, man. This is a guy that he's not the tallest. He's about 6'3" or so, 320 pounds, 315 pounds, explosive, man. Runs a 4.8 40. Very, very dominant player. I'm not sure if he slides to number 21, but if he does, I think he fits the Pittsburgh Steelers mold, no doubt.
All right. How about Lee Hunter, Texas Tech senior defensive lineman, 6'4", 330. It's a big guy right here. He's ranked number 21. Your thoughts on Lee Hunter?
Well, the one thing about Texas Tech is they loaded up on their defensive line. And my philosophy is if you can't run, you can't play. Even though he's big, he would probably have to play nose guard because he doesn't run very well.
Well, Cyberuski, you know what? I'm taking a collection, Smoking Jim, to get a webcam. So, if you want to know when he's going to get a webcam instead of being on the phone here, I'm taking a collection. You can help out. I mean, send your donation. Somebody, Cyberuski, wants to know when you're going to get a webcam and come on internet. And I said, well, yeah. I said, yeah. I'm taking donations. I'm starting a GoFundMe page to help you, Smoking Jim. There you go.
Hey, thank you, brother. Thank you, brother.
You're welcome. Josh Dorr checking in. Cyberuski, haven't heard from you guys for a while. Thoughts on I know what we're talking about here. Okay, never mind about that. Yeah, webcam fund. There you go, Cyberuski. There you go. He's going to set up a webcam fund for you, Smoking Jim. So all right, guys. All right, we're going to get back into this here a little bit here. Caden McDonald, defensive lineman, Smoking Jim. He is with the if I can see that. Ohio State. He's ranked number 25, 6'3", 326. Your thoughts on Caden McDonald?
He's young, man, but the upside is there. Very young. Upside is there, man. Played big time football. Got all the tools, man. Again, got to be a little bit patient. You got to be able to coach him. But still, he's a guy that's a tweener. He's only 6'2". You're going to play him at nose guard. Maybe you like your defensive ends to be 6'4", 6'5". So you may have to move him inside. But definitely a talent. Definitely a talent. But again, he's a tweener. He probably would be better in a 4-3 defensive tackle role rather than the 3-4 nose guard role. And I think the Steelers want to continue to play the 3-4.
All right. Josh, my eye is not too bad. It's better than it was. I can see out of it. I have my issues because I still have a cataract issue here. The answer to your question. Okay, so there you go. All right, let's get back into this. Hakeem Mesidor, Miami, Smoking Jim. This guy here is rated number 26, 6'3", 265. He's kind of light, but they have him at defensive line. Go ahead, Smoking Jim. Smoking Jim, you there?
Yeah, he was unstoppable in college football. He was quick. He was impactful, but he does not fit the 3-4 scheme. Too light in the butt to play defensive end, and he's not a nose guard.
No, he's
So
not. He's too small.
yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers would have to pass on that one.
Yep. All right, here we go. Chris, we're going to start getting into some beef here. Khalid Banks, Florida, senior defensive lineman, 330, 6'5", ranked number 45. There's some beef right there. What do you think of that one?
That's some beef. That's some beef,
That's
man.
it, man.
And
there you go.
He's a big boy, about 6'6". I tell you what, man. Third round. I know he won't last to the third round, but if he's there in the third round, I probably maybe second round you'll take him. But there's a couple things you can't teach, man. You can't teach size, and you can't teach production. He was productive in college. Played at a big school like Clemson. They were disappointed his last year there, but I would not. I would shy away from him in the first round.
All right, Kristen Miller, University of Georgia, junior, ranked number 39, defensive lineman, 310, 6'4". Most of the time, some of the defense from Georgia is usually pretty good, but this guy's ranked number 39. What are your thoughts on this guy?
Well, you got to rank him somewhere, man.
Yeah, exactly.
If you can get a bulldog, man, that's always a pretty good thing, man. So played in the SEC, but like you said, definitely not a first or second rounder.
No.
Third or fourth, when you got 12 draft picks, you can pretty much take two players at each position.
Yeah,
so
you can. You're right.
Because you got double the picks. So.
That's if they keep those picks. I mean, we don't know if they're going to keep them yet. Hearing stories they might do some trading and some wheeling and dealing, and who knows? We'll find out. Yeah,
I would keep them all if I was them.
Yeah.
That's I like thought. Competition. There's enough. I don't think there's 33 NFL quality players on that team right now. So you definitely could feel if you draft right and properly, all 12 of those guys can make the team or make the practice squad. So,
well, I think Joey Porter Jr. is going to have a stellar season this year. He's going to have 10 interceptions and yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why nobody is able to see in the National Football League that kid is a free safety. And he got long arms. Joey's 6'3", but he got the long arms of a guy 6'6". He can run. He was a high school wide receiver, so he can catch. He doesn't like to hit and mix it up. The cornerback, his ball production is just what it is, man. You're going to pay a guy $30-40 million a year for one interception a year. Turnovers help you win football games, man. I think he would get a lot of turnovers at free safety. He's a smart kid, smart player. But I think that cornerback is not there. Is not the position, his best position.
All right, let's look at. Let's see here. Who do we got next? R. Mason Thomas, Oklahoma State. Smoking Jim. This guy, forget it. 6'2", 249. I think we're going to pass on this guy. Speed's probably what gets him ranked number 41.
Unless you move him
to an edge rusher. Yeah.
An edge rusher. So that may take a year for him to learn that. But you don't want to take somebody a project high that high
Oh, I know.
in the draft. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You don't want to do that. I said Khalid Banks was with Florida. He's with Florida State, not Florida. I said Khalid Banks. I'm sorry. I apologize for that one. All right. Let's see. Chris McClellan, rated number 72, defensive lineman, 6'4", 323 from Missouri or Missouri, however you want to pronounce it. Chris McClellan. So not a bad size guy here. This would be a nice late rounder for the Steelers or whomever. You know what I mean? I don't see him going anything other than a late round on this one.
Yeah, so, late round. Yep. Late round.
All right, let's go.
But he runs good. I'm kind of surprised he's sliding down the board a little bit because he was productive. Like a lot of those guys from Missouri, they're productive, but they fly under the radar. 6'3", 320, runs pretty good, and but again, he's somewhat of a tweener. Does he fit the mold at defensive end or nose guard? And the 3-4. So
I'm sorry, Smoking Jim. Khalid Banks is with Florida. I read that wrong. I'm sorry. So he's a senior there. All right, I apologize for that. I thought it said state and it says senior. So my cataracts are bothering me today. So, all right, here we go.
Yeah, Caleb Banks definitely played at Florida.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But it's easy to get the two mixed up. They're rivalries, right?
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah, they are. So, all right, next we're going to go into Rashawn Benny, Michigan. Now, Pensman squares up and down on this guy. 6'4", 305, ranked number 80. Rashawn Benny.
Well, if Pensman
he's a Michigan fan. He's a big Michigan fan, and that covers Michigan. So,
if Pensman is giving him the approval, I got to agree with him. Again, these are a lot of tweeners for the 3-4 defense that fit better in the 4-3 defensive tackle. 6'3", 300 pounds.
Yeah,
pretty quick for his size. Hard worker. But again, if the Pittsburgh Steelers remain in the 3-4 scheme, he would be a tweener at best. He's best fitted in the 4-3 defensive tackle.
Okay, here we are. Dominique Orange, Iowa State senior, defensive lineman, ranked number 87, 6'4", 325. Another late rounder, I think here. Big guy. I think he'd be another YA Black or somebody big guy that could come in and back up and play and get rid of some of these bums like Loudermilk and a few of these other guys. You know what I mean? So what do you think, Smoking Jim?
Well, I'm an Iowa State guy. Most everybody that comes out of that school seems to do better than expected at the next level. Brock Purdy being one that everybody knows. So if you can get him in the later rounds, the work ethic from that school, don't forget that the new Penn State head coach coached there for a number of years.
He did.
So,
and he did a good job with him too. He did.
Great. He did a great job. And so I would definitely talk to Mac, the Penn State coach, about him, and then in the later rounds, man, with those extra draft picks, I may pull the trigger on a guy like that.
Well, you know what, Smoking Jim? What I would like to see the Steelers do is load up on both lines. They have an opportunity to do that in the draft. Load up on both lines. Why not? I mean, that's your most important thing is your lines of scrimmage. And if you can't win the lines of scrimmage, you might as well forget it. And, the Steelers need to load up on it. And I see some guys here they could load up on. You know what I mean? But we'll see what happens here. Here we go. This is Claudio's favorite here with the Italian name here, Dante Corleone, Cincinnati senior, defensive lineman, 6'1", 335. Claudio was on his favorite player here, I think. So
who's the guy from Pitt that he passed away, but he played in the Super Bowl for the Ravens?
oh, you mean Tony Siragusa?
Tony, he's
Yeah,
the next Tony
Tony play.
Siragusa.
I watched Tony play.
So this is a nose guard. This is a nose guard all the way, a tough guy in the trenches. So you need those guys. I tell you, we need the Italian army to make a comeback.
That's right, Franco's Italian army. Yeah,
there you go. He may lead the charge.
Well, those guys are up in heaven with the Lord. Some of them I know because I'm friends with the family. They're all up. Most of them are up with the Lord, or not even living in Pittsburgh anymore. So I mean, and I told you off the air about what's going on with the pizza shop. So But anyway, Dante Corleone, Cincinnati. I if I'm the Steelers, I'd look at him. Nick Barrett, South Carolina, senior defensive lineman, 322, 6'3". This ain't a bad size guy either, ranked number 94. What do you think about this guy?
Well, I tell you what, man, them guys down south like to eat, brother. So they like to eat, man.
Yep.
And hey, again, like you said, and that's why I like doing scouting reports and stuff with you, because you can see what the guys that get paid big dollars can see.
Oh my gosh!
There's no such thing as a bad draft in any position. There's always always hidden gems. There's always guys that fit your program.
Yep.
You might have to dig a little bit.
Yeah, fit your system. Yeah.
You might have to get off the golf course and do some work. But they're out there, man.
Oh yeah.
You haven't even mentioned my number one ranked defensive tackle, defensive end, and nobody's talking about him. So, but I'll give you something that I usually sell. I'll give it to you for free. Caleb Proctor from Southeast Louisiana, man, 6'3", 285, runs at 4.740. Cat quick, lives in the weight room. He is just a dominant player that has flown under the radar because he played at a smaller school. This is a guy that can give you sack production right away at defensive end while he's learning the NFL game, and he's only going to get better and better. So remember that name, Caleb Proctor.
Oh, Proctor. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, from Southeast Louisiana. Nobody's mentioning him. He's at the top of my board.
Okay, here's what I have here. I have the NFL Draft Buzz, which they have a top 12, and that's mixture. Well, they actually do more than 12, but we can get into the top 12 here. Let me see if I think Proctor might even be on one of these lists here, but I don't see him in the top 12, of course. But you know what? Maybe we'll hold on a minute. All right. First of all, defensive end edge rusher. The Buzz they have this Rashawn Bain Jr. from Miami. 263, 6'2". What do you think here, Smoking Jim? This guy's rated number one in the NFL Draft Buzz.
Yeah, we talked about him. He don't fit the Steelers scheme.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go into Kedry Falk from looks like he's from. Hold on a minute. Let me see where he's from. Notre Dame, I think. Hold on. I'm trying to see this. No, he's from Washington, I think. Washington State or something. Last name Falk, defensive end edge rusher, 6'6", 278, 474, number 2 rated. What do you think of him?
I tell you what, man, can't coach size, man. They got the size and the production.
Well, you know what? Here's a guy here from Clemson, and my friend Brian Pettit, who covers Clemson for the Outlaw Sports Network. He said that this guy is not bad. He's rated number 3, defensive lineman edge rusher, Peter Woods from Clemson, 6'2", 298. They have him as a defensive lineman edge rusher in the NFL. Where do you think he goes?
Ooh, I think both those guys for Clemson go pretty high.
Yeah, T.J. Parker, too. They got Parker at number 5. So
yeah, I think they both go pretty high.
Yeah. Yeah, we have, all right, let's look at, I think we already looked at Kristen Miller. Yeah, we already looked at him. Okay, we got R. Mason Thomas from Oklahoma. He's a 241, 6'2". He's rated at number 7, defensive end edge rusher. So we have that one. And then how about that Messiter? He's at number 9 on this list. Banks is at number 11. We are Zion Young. What can you tell me about Zion Young? He's rated number 12, 262, but he's 6'6", 262. What do you think of him?
Well, from Missouri.
Yeah. Missouri.
Freak of nature, but most of the year he played at about 250, 255. So he would have to be an outside edge rusher, outside linebacker in the Steelers scheme. But I think that somebody can use a player like that, especially in a 4-3 defense. So I don't think he fits what the Steelers say they're trying to do, which is stay in the 3-4 scheme.
Okay, we got Dante Corleone, number 17 on this list, Smoking Jim.
Oh, that
Dante
ain't bad.
Corleone. No, he's not.
That ain't bad.
Not at all. No, that's us. Claudio's guy there, Dante Corleone. So I'll tell you off camera about Dante Corleone.
Huh?
I'll tell you off the air about Dante Corleone. So
okay.
All right.
Okay.
I'll tell you something off the air. So
okay.
All right. Anyway, Derek Moore, Michigan, 6'4", 255, ranked number 15. He's another edge rusher, defensive end. What can you tell me about Derek Moore?
Hey, our guy loves Michigan players, man. So I'm a ride with him.
Yeah, Pensman. About Derek Moore. So but I don't know if he's related to Shamar Moore. Oh my. So, all right, let's go into number. Here we go. The NFL buzz here. I got a number. Let's see. We already talked about this. Keon Crawford. Let's look at DeMonte Capehart, Clemson. Here's another one from Clemson. 6'5", 313. Looks like Clemson's defense is going to be decimated this year. Smoking Jim, what do you think?
Well, they didn't win much with him.
Yeah, I know.
It was probably Clemson. A lot of people thought they were national champions this year.
Yeah.
And it just fell apart. I was at the first game this year. 2 disappointing teams that looked like they were both going to be great.
LSU and Clemson, yeah.
Clemson and LSU first game is sold out, man. I've never seen the environment like that. They're fighting over the name. Both of them call their stadium the Death Valley. So they're talking about who's the true Death Valley, and they both have first-round draft choice quarterbacks that's now probably be available in the 7th round. But you talk about 2 very talented teams in LSU and Clemson, and it both fell apart this year along with Penn State. So I've never seen anything like that in college football history. So many teams at the top can't miss playing for the national championship, and it just fell apart.
Oh, I know. It was so bad this year. They actually had James Madison in the playoffs. I mean, that's where it was this year. I mean, and Notre Dame didn't even participate because they got mad. But you know what? That's what happens to you when you have an easy schedule. You know what I mean? I mean, Notre Dame had an easy schedule. It's all about strength of schedule too sometimes. But I mean, and all right, we already said about Chris McClellan. Let's go into Grayson Halton, Oklahoma, 6'3", 293. Your thoughts on this guy, Oklahoma, number 28 ranked? and the NFL buzz.
I tell you what, man. Like the size.
That is a good size. Yeah.
Like the production. Like the
Yeah.
school.
Oklahoma always has good defense. They always do. They
Always. Always,
yeah.
man.
They're a run to football. They're a run to football defensive school. That's what they've always been like that. That's always been their that's always been their forte,
But here's the problem we have here is only 6'1".
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah.
Now he's super fast, he's quick, he's about 40 guy, but and he's strong, but he's more, you want to put him in a 4-3 defense at tackle, maybe you got another Aaron Donald.
Yeah,
but if you put him at nose guard, he'll get buried.
Oh, he's undersized for nose guard. Undersized.
Yeah, and he's not a 3-4 defensive end. So
no, not at all.
He's Aaron Donald defensive tackle. So a 4-3 defense ought to take a shot on this kid.
Well, like you said, you hope he don't quit on his team.
I love it, brother.
You always bring that up when Aaron Donald comes up, and especially when Luther talks about him. You always bring it up, and it's so funny. You know what I mean? It's so hilarious. He quit on his team and walked away, and yeah. All right, here we go. Snyder, Gil Howard, Skylar, Gil Howard, Tennessee. Your thoughts on this guy?
Well, talk about another disappointing.
Yes, another disappointing football
program.
Team. Yeah, Josh Heupel. Yeah, he didn't do too good this year. Yeah, yeah.
So they love their football in Tennessee.
They didn't like it this year.
The fans come out, win, lose, or draw. And, what can you do, man? When they play at a program like Tennessee, man, you like to take a swing at the kid. So give him a shot.
All right, you're watching the Sports Corner Show. If you just tuned in, welcome aboard. I want to thank everyone for being on here. Dizzle, hey, Dizzle checking in. Thank you, Dizzle. What's going on with you? How are you today? Dizzle's follows me around and follows us around on Steel City Sports World and several other shows as well. And I want to thank Cyberuski, Josh Dorr for making their returns to the comment section. Also, I want to thank Answer the Call, Tim Collins, who also commented today. And those of you tuning in today, John Gonzalez. And we're also simulcasted on TGI Sports Network. We had Keith Engel on earlier. And then we had Ryan Neal on from Amped Up Sports. Both guys broke it down for Keith broke down the New York Giants, the Jets, and the New England Patriots. And then Ryan broke down the New Orleans Saints. And we talked a little bit about LSU football. Always a pleasure to talk to him about LSU football when we have him on the show here as well. I always have to bring that in, even though we're talking about the draft and athletes and things like that in the draft and so on. So, but anyway, we're talking about defensive linemen, defensive ends, edge rushers here. The NFL Draft Buzz, one of the better publications around online that talks about all these different, breaks it all down for us. And we're breaking it down right here with the best, my co-host, Smoki and Jim Frazier, the best freelance scouter all across anywhere across the country. Smoki and Jim can break it down for you, tell you exactly what's going on. Smoki and Jim, tell us if there's any more small.
Hey,
go ahead.
Well, not to cut you off, but I think earlier in the show, you were saying the Pittsburgh Steelers might be projected to take defensive lineman from Penn State. That's probably going to be Zane Durant, who's a beast. Who's an absolute beast.
Yeah, Reddit, the Reddit, the social media platform has the Steelers taking that guy. So
I'm kind of surprised that they would slot him with the Steelers because he's only 6'1", 285, so he can't play defensive end in the 3-4 defense, and he's too small to play nose guard. but he's an absolute beast. Like I said, a 4-3
Okay.
defensive tackle.
Okay,
And
Smoking
a
Jim.
4-3.
Smoking Jim, I got to correct myself, and
Uh-huh.
I made a mistake. All right, Reddit has the Steelers taking guard from Penn State, and a guard.
Oh yeah,
Olavega Loney,
yeah,
or
now
Looney, or whatever his name
that
is.
makes more sense
More
because when you
sense,
said
yeah.
when
Yeah.
you pronounce names pretty good, and I said I know he could have pronounced Zane Durant.
Yeah. Oh, you know I can pronounce
that's-
Zane Durant. Yeah, I do the best I can with names. And then they got the Steelers in the second round here because they did a 2-round draft, Reddit did. And they have the Steelers taking the Brendan Thompson wide receiver from Mississippi State. That's who they have. This is their first 2-round draft for the Steelers for Reddit. So I just want to let you know that one. So, you know. And our they have the Raiders. Well, of course, everybody has the Raiders taking Fernando Mendoza. And then they have the Jets taking David Bailey. And I'm looking at to see who our AFC North guys they got. They got the Ravens taking Spencer Fano, offensive tackle from Utah, Smoking Jim. And then the Browns, they have taken Carnell Tate, wide receiver from Ohio State. They have him going at number 6 in the draft. And then they have and then the Bengals. Let me see where the Bungles are here. I think they pick at number 10. They're going to take. They have the Reddit has them at Mansour Delane, Mansour Delane, cornerback out of LSU. So that's our AFC North there, Smoking Jim, for the first round. So there you go. Just to let you know about that. And the Saints, they have them picking Chris Johnson, cornerback out of San Diego State. They have the Saints picking. Oh no, that's in the second round. I'm sorry. The Saints in the first round, they're going to pick Reuben Bain, edge rusher out of Miami. So there you are. There, Casey's Concepcion. They have the Steelers linked to him in some mock drafts, going number 30 to the Dolphins, which is a pick that they got from Denver. All right, and some of the other wide receivers is Denzel Boston. They have the Steelers. I've seen some mock drafts with his name come up. Reddit has him going to the Patriots at 31. So, oh, by the way, here we go. You ready for this one, Smoking Jim?
Yes, sir.
All right, Reddit has in their first 2 mock draft. You ready for this? Guess who they have going to the Texans at number 59 in the second round?
Who?
Kyle Lewis, linebacker Pitt.
Really?
Yeah, they got him going at number 59, which is their second round pick to the Texans.
Ain't too shabby.
No, they got him ahead of Chris Bell, a wide receiver from Louisville that I think that the Steelers should look at if he's available in the second round or whatever. Yeah.
Wow.
They got him going to the Rams in the second round. And I'm also going to be presenting mock drafts from many different folks, whether it's NFL or whatever. And, so look, you can watch all the experts that get overpaid, but you watch this program and you got the best scout right here as my co-host and myself. We break it down. We break it down on the Sports Corner radio show, too, with Luther and Claudio. We all break this stuff down. And we break it down right, and we break it down well, and we don't get paid nowhere near what those folks get paid. So, I mean, and they're supposed to be so-called experts. We all know where that comes from. So, but anyway, Ty Simpson here. Reddit has Ty Simpson going number 26 in the first round, Smoking Jim, to the Arizona Cardinals. That's where they have Ty Simpson going. I know you're high on him, so, But I just want to let you know that, Smoking Jim. So, all right, let's get
where they got him going.
Number 26 in the draft from a trade for a pick. Arizona accumulated a 26 pick. It doesn't say who they traded with. Number 26 pick in the first round to the Arizona Cardinals. Well, Mike LaFleur is their new head coach here, former offensive coordinator down at the Rams, and Matt LaFleur's brother. So, he's their new head coach there. So they're going to be worrying about why do you think they got rid of Kyler Murray? He wants to start over with a new quarterback. So we'll see what goes on down there, So, but anyway, all right, let's get back to the NFL buzz here. Whoa. Let's get back to the NFL buzz here. Let me see where we're at here. Okay, here we go. All right, let's get back to number. All right, let's look at. Okay, hold on. No, I don't want to do that. What the heck is going on here? All right, here we go. All right, back to the NFL buzz. All right, let's look at. Let me see here. Daryl Jackson Jr. From the. What the heck? Oh, he's from Florida State. Daryl Jackson Jr. 315.65. Your thoughts, Smoking Jim? Defensive tackle. They got him number 21 rated in the NFL buzz. Go ahead.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and they got number 22 Anthony Lucas. He's a edge rusher, defensive end. They got him at 6'6", 250. He's from South Carolina. What do you think of this Anthony Lucas?
Ooh. Again, super freak, but doesn't fit the Pittsburgh Steelers defensive line.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I got you. All right, here we go. Defensive end edge rusher. But I don't know if the Steelers are going to take him because they've been taking too many edge rushers in the first round, so we'll find out. But if he's sitting there, would you take him? Number 23, Caton Curry, Ohio State, 257, 6'3", running a 4.78 in the 40. Your thoughts? Go ahead.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Caton Curry.
Breaking up.
Caton Curry, defensive end edge rusher. Caton Curry, Ohio State, 257. He's a little light in the sun there, but 6'3" edge rusher, defensive end.
Yeah, I take it and move. Moving.
Even if you didn't have him on the list,
linebacker.
I'd do something with him. You know what I mean?
He's a ball player.
Yeah, he's another Jack Sawyer.
Yeah.
I called it, Jack Sawyer.
You did. You sure did.
I called it.
You sure did, brother.
I said Jack Sawyer. I said take him, and they did. And look, it's just too bad my Khalid Johnson didn't work out. From Iowa. Khalid Johnson.
They all can't work out, right?
Yeah, I got to be wrong sometimes. I'm always right most of the time, but I got to be wrong sometimes. So, all right, let's go into. Let's see who else we have or we didn't cover. Here's your Proctor. They got Proctor rated at number 36 on the draft buzz, Smoking Jim. Keith Proctor, Caleb Proctor.
Well, again, when you got red flags, he's young. Oh, you talking about Proctor? I thought you were talking about the Caleb from Ohio State.
No.
I thought you were talking about Caden McDonald, but Proctor. What about Proctor? That's my number one.
They have him rated at number 36 here.
That ain't bad. That's higher than I thought.
That's
higher than I thought.
Yeah. And then here, your Zane Durant. He's at number 38 for Penn State. Zane Durant.
Okay. Somebody's gonna get it. If somebody puts him in the right position, they're gonna get a heck of a football player.
Or if he gets the right coach with the right system. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't shove a square peg into a round hole.
Yeah.
So, here's a guy I like. He's at number 41, defensive tackle, Aaron Graves from Iowa. You never can go wrong with the guy from Iowa at defensive tackle.
True.
Aaron Graves.
So true.
So that's my guy right there. I never ever, when it comes to that. So, all right, let's look into Vincent Anthony Jr. He's from Duke, defensive end edge rusher. You don't see too many from Duke. They're a good defensive team now with Manny Diaz as their head coach. They made it into the ACC championship game. So 6'6", 258. If he had Manny Diaz as his coach, he can't be too bad. He's rated at number 44. So there you go with him. So let's see here. Patrick Payton, LSU, defensive lineman, edge rusher. He's rated at number 45. They have him at 266.5, Smoking Jim. So there you are with him. Let's see where we're at next. Logan Fano, from Utah. We've seen him around in some of these drafts. He's at number 47, 257, 6'3", edge rusher, defensive end. What do you think of this Fano guy from Utah?
He's tough, man. He's tough, but he don't fit the Steelers system.
No, not at all. But here's you don't see too many guys from Rutgers, defensive end edge rusher, Eric O'Neill from Rutgers. Rutgers don't have too many athletes in the draft that much these days, despite the fact they still have Greg Schiano, who will probably be there as long as Joe Paterno, was at Penn State or whatever. So,
Well,
but anyway.
at least every week they got Reggie Jenkins.
Yeah.
You familiar with that?
Yeah, he was a howl, man. He was he was a big time thing. All right, let's go into number 49 here on this list. Darvin Hobbs, Tennessee, 296.4. That's not bad size there.
No.
He would fit pretty good. Let's see, defensive end edge rusher here, George Coombs Jr. from the Florida Gators. They have him rated at number 50, 6'4", 245. So let's see here. Next, we have number 51, defensive end Tyler Onadim, Texas A&M. Now, if you come from Mike Elko's school and you're on defense, you're coached pretty good because Mike Elko knows how to coach defense at Texas A&M. He's their head coach, and he's whipped Texas A&M into shape. He's got them physical. He's got them playing his brand of football that he likes. He did it at Duke, and he's doing it now at Texas A&M. So you see where they went this year, Smoking Jim. So Devon Eastern. How about Devin Western instead of Eastern? There we go. He's with Arizona, 315, 6'5". This ain't a bad size here, 52 rated. So a lot of guys, big time ratings here, Smoking Jim, with some of these guys. We're going to wrap this up a little bit early. I got some announcements to make anyway, and we're going to wrap this up a little bit. Your thoughts on some of these guys, and I'm all the way up to number 60 here. And Dermonti Williams from Oklahoma. There's a few UCLA, Gary Smith III. So UCLA's not, well, once in a while they pump out a defensive player here and there. But Georgia, here we go. Jordan Hall, 320, 6'4". He's rated number 56 defensive lineman. So, you can't beat a Georgia athlete there except for Bumrick Jones. Smoking Jim, your thoughts on Broderick Jones? You think he comes back or what? I mean, he's having that neck fusion surgery. That's not very pleasant. Takes a while to recover. I've seen wrestlers get it. They were down 18 months or more. Randy Orton had back fusion surgery. He was down 18 months or more. With neck fusion surgery, he could be down for a little while. And now the Steelers got to figure out where they go with him. So what do you think?
Well, he couldn't play with a healthy neck. Again, I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers will let you know what they think about Broderick if they take an offensive lineman, a tackle in the first round. Blake Miller out of Clemson is somebody that is more than capable of stepping right in as a rookie. Maybe move to Samoan from right tackle to left tackle where he played in college at left tackle, and put Blake Miller, who played his whole career at Clemson, at right tackle. So if they do something like that, then you know that they've soured a little bit on Broderick, because the main thing now is the money is just going to be substantial.
Yeah.
He's ready for his option year pretty soon. So you have to make a decision. And like you said it best. There's probably no better money cruncher on the planet than Omar Khan. I mean, that's what he does.
Yeah.
The Steelers haven't been up against the cap since he got promoted. So you got to give it to him. He's doing that 12 hours a day, Well, your guy from Philadelphia is the real true GM.
Yeah, Andy
And it's
Weidel.
working
Yeah,
out.
Andy Weidel's
Yeah.
your GM. I
Yes,
believe
he
that. I
is.
just think they gave that to him to keep him. That's what I believe. Because
Yeah.
if he would have went anywhere else, he was going to be a GM. So
Yeah.
I mean, and they gave him enough money for him to stay too, because they knew if they lose him, they're done. I mean, it's that simple. I mean, guys like that are a dime a dozen, and you got to keep them. So, and that's what the Steelers have done. So, all right,
Yes, sir.
just some announcements coming up. Don't forget, tomorrow's The Way I See It, Delmarva edition is we'll be back April 1st. When we come back April 1st, which is next Wednesday, we will be back as the Ralph's Opinion Show, The Way I See It, Delmarva edition. We're going back to that format. Ralph's Opinion Show here. All right, Ralph's Opinion. The Ralph's Opinion Show, we start at 7:30 every Wednesday, starting again next Wednesday, April 1st, April Fool's Day. And then we have immediately following at 8 o'clock, we'll do The Way I See It, Delmarva edition. So lots to talk about as well. And don't forget tomorrow, live call-in show at my show in Philadelphia, the Ralph Williams Show. Here it is, 8:60 a.m. WWDB. Tomorrow, live call-in show. I want your phone calls tomorrow. Every fourth Wednesday of the month, we have a live call-in show. Here it is. All right, that's tomorrow, 3 to 4 p.m. on 8:60 a.m. WWDB, the Ralph Williams Show. Don't forget to tune into that. Ralph Williams Show is expanding. If you heard my announcement earlier, if not, I'll tell you again, because I'm going to continue to tell you again, because I want you to know, Saturday mornings, starting Saturday, April 4th, 93.5 The Beach, Delmarva Rock Station. I will be on Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. with the Ralph Williams Show. And we got a lot to talk about in the Delmarva region down here, and plenty to talk about. I mean, I'm talking, we have a lot, and we're 50,000 watts of power. Oh, at the 50,000 watt station up in Pittsburgh wouldn't give me an opportunity. Well, guess what? This one is. So here we are. And it's going to turn into the weekend of Ralph. No more of the Saturday triple header, the weekend of Ralph, because don't forget the Ralph Williams Show, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 1250 The Answer, 92.5 on the FM dial up in Pittsburgh here. And here's that. And also on Sunday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on 1250 a.m. The Answer, 92.5 on the FM dial. My co-host, as always, every Sunday with me is Tony Moreno. And we have a lot to talk about this weekend, including Pittsburgh City Council and the ICE vote. We'll have all that coming up this weekend, so tune in. Here it is. All right, then right after this show on Saturday at 10 a.m. is the Saturday Sports Show. Here we are. All right, and that's right here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, X, and the Kick Network, and also on and the Kick Network as well. So just want to let you know about that one. And then also, and this week we have Ray Cruz coming on the Saturday Sports Show. He's going to be talking with us about the Jacksonville Jaguars and what they're doing. But guys that I can't get on Tuesdays to come on will come on Saturdays with us. So I just want to let everyone know that. All right, because due to scheduling conflicts, I can't get everybody on Tuesday. And then to fill out the Saturday, the weekend, the Saturday of Ralph Williams, here we are, 2 to 3 p.m., 1250 The Answer, 92.5 on the FM dial, theanswerpgh.com. The Sports Corner radio show with me, Ralph Williams, Smoki, Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano, and Luther Dupree. And like I said, don't forget Sunday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., the Ralph Williams Show. And don't forget tomorrow, the live call-in show. You can call in, talk to me tomorrow on Philadelphia's 8:60 a.m. WWDB. The city of brotherly love has given me some great brotherly love as we go here. Smoki and Jim, any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, another great show, Ralph. The booking machine came through again.
Yes, I did. I did. And I want to thank our guests, Keith Engel and Ryan Neal, for being on with us today. Next week, we're going to have some other guests. I'm working on a bunch of guys. Get them on here. We're going to cover all 32 teams, as I promised. I'm working on getting somebody from all 32 teams on here. We've already covered about a dozen. So, we still got 20 more to go, and we're going to get it all done. So I just want to let everyone know that as well. All right. For Smoking Jim Frazier, I'm Ralph Williams. Have yourself a great one. And please, by all means, until next week, please be safe. Thank you.